your chance to tell us exactly what's going to happen. If those who like a bet, make a note. If you don't, that's fine. Opening match, Scotland, Germany. Could go really badly for Scotland, obviously, but it might not.
No, it might not. I mean, this is a Germany team that is heading into this tournament with a lot of question marks still. And you start with the goalkeeper. Manuel Neuer made another error in the win over Greece, and they spared his blushes eventually. But this is a guy that was out for the best part of a year. He admits himself having had that really serious leg injury that only 1 or 2 people out of 10 make a full recovery.
Not their best goalkeeper now?
Well, there's an argument to say Marc-Andre ter Stegen is the top goalkeeper. He certainly would believe that. He was amazing for Barcelona when they won La Liga under Xavi. He was outstanding that season. Maybe has dipped a little bit since then. So there's a big question about that, but Julian Nagelsmann has shut that down and said, Neuer's my number 1. There are question marks over, can they take enough chances? Because we saw in the World Cup under Hansi Flick in Qatar, made loads of chances, didn't take enough of them. So who's going to start as centre forward? Will it be Niklas Füllkrug? Will it be Kai Havertz? Havertz probably links better with the likes of Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala, but Füllkrug is a proven goal scorer and is a bit more of a bully up top who can do a bit more against the centre-backs.
So if you're a Scotland fan, you needn't be too downbeat about the prospect.
No, I think there's an opportunity, but you've got to start well. You can't let Toni Kroos start to dictate the game, because I think if Germany settle in, then it's really, really tough. But if Scotland start well, maybe get the first goal, different story.
Where do you see Scotland finishing in the group?
4th.
Fair enough.
I think so too, but
if they've got something to
tight.
aim at, it's Switzerland, I think.
OK, we'll see. That might fire some Scottish viewers up, and indeed Scotland squad if you're watching in Germany. Good evening to Garmisch-Partenkirchen. What about England's opening game then against Serbia? How dangerous a game is that?
I think Serbia are dangerous in that, as I said, they can hurt you without dominating the game. I mean, you look at them at Sweden at the weekend, and it's a far from exceptional Sweden at the moment, rebuilding under Jon Dahl Tomasson, of course, after he came across from Blackburn. But they've just got that degree of attacking quality. We talked about Vlahovic, we talked about Mitrovic, of course. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic can score from all sorts of ways, from midfield as well, and that's before we get to Dusan Tadic, for example, who will probably come off the bench. I think there are a few things to watch for England. I would expect England to win this. I think a big part of it is they're just that little bit more athletic. But I think here, from the Serbia side, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, not his goalkeeper brother, Vanja, he is the key, because this is the point. We talked about how much players will have left in the tank. He's been playing at a level below where he really is in the Saudi Pro League. So maybe he's a little bit fresh.
How big a figure has Jude Bellingham become for England, partly by not being involved in the 2 games last week, but also what he's done for Real Madrid?
I think a huge figure. I think you look at the way that he has continued that trajectory after leaving Borussia Dortmund. It would have been very easy to be a little bit daunted by playing for Real Madrid. He's done the total opposite. He's absolutely embraced it. He's learnt the language, which I do think is very important. Obviously, he's not completely fluent, but he's giving interviews in Spanish, which I think is really important. It's a signal that he's willing to work, if that makes sense. So it's not just about working on his...
It conveys respect, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I think it shows somebody with a keen intellect, but also a keen work ethic. And he is somebody that's happy to take on a leadership role at the age of 20.
He's got it in him, has he, to be player of the tournament?
Oh, 100%.
Comfortably.
100%. Because the only question I would have about Jude Bellingham, and this is not anything that's his fault, there is a doubt over has he played too much. So I would go back to his final season at Dortmund. He takes so much on, and he becomes the central figure of that Dortmund team, but he can't play in their final game against Mainz because he'd been carrying an injury and didn't quite make it. That's not his fault, of course. But the temptation is, has he been overplayed, and is he too central a figure for everyone he plays for? That would be my only question. Mentally, technically, he can deal with it.
I think how the other teams play him is really important to look at, because in the second half of the La Liga season, really targeted by opposition teams, trying to kick him, trying to wind him up, trying to stop him playing. And that is part of getting towards being in the conversation for being the best player in the world, isn't it?
Some quick predictions. He could be player of the tournament. Who else might be, very quickly?
If Germany do well, Florian Wirtz would be a runner.
OK.
Antoine Griezmann.
OK, top scorer?
I think we're on the same page here, aren't we? Romelu Lukaku, we think, is going to rack up a few goals in the group stage. And if he does well in a knockout game, that might be enough. Yeah,
it is about the group opponents, isn't it, for people going for Lukaku. So your semi-finalists?
Oh, now
they're looking at each other.
There's a question. I can tell you I think my finalists would be, I think France and Portugal. Yep. I think France are slated to, if they both win their groups, face England in the semis.
Yep.
So I could absolutely see that being a kind of repeat of that showdown at the World Cup, although that was at an earlier stage.
Yeah, I've France as my winners, and that would be an extraordinary final. It would be so much better than the 2016 final.
Winners for you?
France.